Hi, I'm Jen Kem, the founder of Master Brand Institute, and here we guide founders, experts, thought leaders, and entrepreneurs like you to build a wildly profitable personal brand from the inside out through the power of team, identity, messaging, and experiences. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing how you can make people read your mind. I know, it doesn't sound real, but I'm going to share with you a tool that I use to help people who are helping me in my business, or when I'm also trying to communicate to the outside world how to read my mind. This is going to be juicy, so stay tuned. Remember when you were a little kid and you're trying to get something from your parents, or you wanted your parents to do something for you? And the main way that we did that, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but for me, it was like stomping my feet, getting frustrated that I couldn't communicate or they would not respond to what I wanted. Well, guess what? Basically, if you're running a business, it doesn't matter how old you are, basically we're just a bunch of toddlers that need structure our entire life. And so the tool that I'm going to share with you is to allow or help people read your mind, especially when you are starting out and maybe you're hiring your first assistant or you're getting somebody to help you, and all you want is your vision to come true and for the strategy to work, right? But when it's being executed, what people do for you doesn't match what you expected, right? And so that 3-year-old you that's feeling that tantrum, feeling like that bratty, frustrated feeling, the good news is that I'm gonna share with you what I call the prototyping process. And that is what the crux of today's video is all about. What is the prototyping process? The prototyping process allows you, because you've done the brand cast and the stratagem, and by the way, if you haven't watched those videos, stop this video now and go watch those videos. After you watch those videos, now you can do what I call the prototyping process. This is where you give the brand cast and the stratagem to people who are helping you execute this thing and saying to them, you have 5 opportunities or less to tell me or to create the work that these 2 documents are asking you to do. Because the thing is that nobody's ever gonna do it as good as you. That's the bottom line. Even if you're like the most unorganized person and you're like, hey, I wanna hire somebody to organize my life better, you're still going to organize things better for you to create output than anybody else can. And so the prototyping process allows people who work with you for you. Maybe it's a copywriter, that you hire just to write your emails during a launch. Maybe it's your social media team who's helping you create the captions and the images for, your personal brand or your products. Any one of them, usually when we bring a product or an idea to market or to launch it, what happens is we expect them to know exactly how to do it because you've paid them to do that, right? So you're like, well, how come what they gave me does not sound like me, does not look like me, is not what I would have done? Well, part of it is because you have not built into your process this prototyping process. And again, prototyping is about asking one question, and you're not the one asking the question. It's the person that you've hired to help you. Let's say it's your copywriter. Your copywriter's question, after they've read your broadcasting, your stratagem, and even if you don't have those 2 things, let's just say you gave them an assignment, you want to invite them to be able to ask this question without you getting frustrated with them. And that question is this what you meant? And what that means is they've actually shown you the work. We call it the WIP, the work in progress or the work in process, before it's actually due to market. Right? Because a lot of times we don't build in this process, and therefore we get frustrated because what's actually put out, there's been no dialogue, there's been no exchange. And so we call it, again, prototyping. We also call it 5 to live. So 5 to live means that anyone on your team has the opportunity to take 5 passes at it within the time span that you have to bring the idea to market. The goal, back to them starting to read your mind, is that every time you use this prototyping process, your team gets better at reading your mind. Instead of it taking 5 versions to show you before it goes live. What you're hoping after 2 to 3 times of doing the prototyping process, that actually after edit number 2, it's already ready to go. And you start to feel so happy because you start to feel more understood. You stop feeling resentful that you spent all this energy and time and yes, your money to get people to help you. And you're going to get over that feeling of like, oh, I should have just done it myself. And therefore you can be more available for your vision instead of execution. But it only happens if you use a process like prototyping or 5 to Live. Let me give you an actual example to help you be able to visualize how this would work in your world. I rebranded jenniferkem.com. And in that process of having a vision for how I wanted my personal brand to be seen by the outside world, and rebranding, or at least evolving my personal brand from CEO and a woman who's built 8-figure businesses, even though those are still true, I wanted to really present myself in this next season as someone who is a speaker, an author, and an investor in other people's ideas. And so the outcome of doing that would be, I need a brand new website. And in order to get that website done in a way that where my current team, who's used to me being communicated as that other Jen, right? The 8-figure Jen, the person who's worked with big celebrities and some of the top entrepreneurs and has, programs that have helped even new entrepreneurs create 6 and 7 and 8-figure success. Not to actually eliminate her, but to actually evolve her. And when they're so used to marketing me a certain way, right? This became a new idea that I wanted to make sure that the team was able to mobilize and execute based on my vision and my strategy. What the team did is we baked in to the launch of the website at least 5 different versions of what that could look like. And the team would show me the work in progress instead of waiting till the whole website's done, which is always not a good idea, period. So don't ever do that because you're going to be really disappointed, generally speaking. I wanted to see versions of the website early and often so that I could give very direct feedback. Also, even it would pique and spark new ideas for me of how I actually wanted to lay out. And because we built that into the timeline of the website, and frankly, it still took longer than I imagined it to, but guess what? That usually happens to most people. It doesn't matter if you're a starter or you're a big company. In general, there's going to be delays and issues. But part of the way that you can help offset the frustration or the stress around that happening is this prototyping process. So because my team uses this process to actually show me early edits on, so that I can give that initial direction, so it gives them enough input so that they can build bigger prototypes of, in my case, this website. It allowed that barrier to smooth out and the execution of it to go faster. So I want you to think about a time where you were frustrated, that something you wanted to bring to market or introduce to the world took longer. It was probably because even with yourself, you didn't give yourself the grace of what I call the prototyping and 5 to Life process, because it allows you to, again, look at various variants of your vision and then finally start to create momentum under it. Simply put, what I want you to do next is ask yourself, what's my new idea? And how can I build a timeline such that I get at least 3 to 5 versions of that idea in the next 100 days to market. You're going to notice that even if you have a virtual assistant or you have an entire big team working for you, this particular process itself is not just going to help eliminate friction, pressure, noise, frustration. It's actually going to make your team like you better. So if you found value in this content, please hit the thumbs up button below so we can get this video in front of more entrepreneurs and CEOs like you. But before I go, I want to invite you to also take the Brand Archetype quiz, which is linked in the description below, because that will help you message prototyping to your team and your audience better. I'm Jen Kem, here to help you get the right messaging and team support to build the wealth, power, and leadership you are meant to bring to the world. Until next time.